That drips.
I mean, it's a hole. I mean,
It's a what?
it goes straight through.
This is Mixlaw Production. It's Mixlaw.
What's up, guys? It's freezing out here, man. Snowed overnight. No damn warning, no nothing. It's freezing. But we gonna get some stuff done today. Oh shit. We gonna get the Pistons in today. That's the plan. Start my baby up. Woo. Throw that heat on. Crazy thing about the Infinities M35, I don't know about every other model. As you can see, they got their wipers up. Mines can't go up. Random fact about the Infinity M35X. Daughter out here playing in the snow already. Swear kids don't get cold. Say hi, Sage. All right, let's get to work. All right, guys, so this is the tool I'll be using to install the piston rings. Wiseco piston ring compressor. It's 81 millimeter for the my blocks bore. I'm just checking it out here and making sure it's a perfect fit. Everything look good. And the first thing install wise I wanted to do is make sure my block was lubricated for when I put the pistons in. Make sure anything didn't scratch. So that's what I'm doing here, just lubricating the cylinders a little bit. I'm also going to do the same thing right here with the ring installer as well. Go ahead and lubricate that so I can actually put the pistons in pretty easy. And there's no such thing as over lubricating these parts, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the pistons as well as the rings. Just get plenty of oil all around that, just to make everything easier. So what I have here is just a real small pointy tool to clock my rings. You don't want any rings in line with the wrist pins, and you also don't want them on your thrust surfaces, which is 90 degrees from your wrist pins. So you can pretty much go anywhere from there, and you also don't want them to overlap each other. So you just want them to stay separated. They do have them in the Honda books. I'll try to throw it in here, but that's pretty much the base rules, not with your wrist pins or your thrust surfaces, and not in line with each other. So just stagger them pretty much. And probably before you clock your rings, you want to go ahead and do what I'm doing now. I'm lubricating the bottom of the rod to put the bearing in. It's just something I forgot about. So just go ahead and do that before clocking your rings. Because once you clock your rings, you don't want them to move, or you want to put them in the compressor tool immediately. Now we're going to go ahead and put our bearing in. Make sure you line them up right with the notch. So just go ahead and throw that in and throw some lube on top of that as well. Alright, so I'm just checking the clocking of the rings right here, getting ready to put them into the ring compressor tool. And with this tool, it's tapered, so all you got to do is pretty much set it in there, and then as long as your rings are centered, it'll drop right in the top, and then it just gradually goes down to the 81 millimeter bore at the bottom of the tool. So it was awesome. I really love this tool. Alright, so right here I'm getting ready to put the pistons in and realize I forgot to protect the rod bolts. So I'm just grabbing these, I believe it was like Clevite rod bolt covers, just for extra protection, make sure I don't scratch the crank. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw those on. Alright, so here I go installing the piston, and kind of funny, you'll see me shaking it, trying to make sure there's no play in the compressor tool, and there's zero play. As you can see, the whole engine shakes when I move it at all. So from that point, I know I can just press the piston down, and the rings won't catch. So I have like half the piston, the size of the piston in the block, and then the rest on top. So I'm gonna just go ahead and push them down. You'll see how easy they'll go in. And that's it, they're in. So now I'm gonna just make sure I got those rod bolts down. You'll see me put my arm under the block while I go ahead and hammer that down with a wooden hammer. You can use plastic, but I'm just making sure those rod bolts don't hit the crank, even though I do have them protected. Alright, so our next step is going to be taking the other end of the connecting rod, getting that down on the crank. Make sure you lube it like I'm doing here, and put the bearing in. Go ahead and take your hammer and set that onto the crank. So right here, I realized that I hadn't tapped the piston down onto the crank far enough, so my cap wasn't closing all the way. And rather than trying to close it with the nut, the ARP nut, I wanted to just make sure it was closed. So I flipped the engine over, and I went ahead and tapped it down all the way. And now I'm gonna just go ahead and finish the job. Now I'm grabbing my ARP lube and throwing a little bit of that on the stud as well as the nut, and I'm gonna wipe off that. I'm gonna go ahead and finger tighten them and wipe off the excess here coming up. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and torque those down. The ARP ones are supposed to be torqued down to 26 foot-pounds, but I'm going to go ahead and do 10 foot-pounds first, and then I'm going to go to 26 just for a little bit of security, make sure my torque wrench is working right, and make sure I'm filling those clicks. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do all of them in 2 steps. And we're good. So now the rest will be the same as the first one. Go ahead and stay tuned, see a fast-paced view of that. I'm gonna go ahead and put the other 4 pistons in, other 3 pistons in, I'm sorry, and get this thing rotating. So let's see if we can get that done here. And I'm playing around right here. Everybody knows that, you know, usually in your 4-cylinder engine you have 2 pistons up, 2 pistons down. This is the classic VHB Engines money shot. Just figured I'd give him a shout out real quick. He's helped me out a lot. So here we go with the money shot.
Money shot.
Alright, now let's stop playing around and get the rest of these in. Go ahead and press this one down. Put the other side of the connecting rod on that, and then I'm going to do the other one right after that.